Hi, hello, namaste all. Welcome to Diarysouls. Hope you all are fine and doing well with everything. Today we have another eminent person, Brain Weeden from United States, California, as our guest today. He is former sergeant at United States Army and president and investor at Weeden Enterprises and board of directors of Big Brothers and Big Sisters of EI Paso. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for accepting to share your diary with the Diary Souls. And welcome, sir.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your time.
So, how are you, sir? How is going everything around you in this lockdown?
For us, it's not too bad. We're able to help small businesses figure out what to do next, figure out how to do the next thing, or how to take this time to really leverage. Okay, now what? After this is all taken care of, now what are we going to do as a business? So I'm pretty busy.
Oh, very busy. Thank you so much for giving us your busy schedule in between your busy schedule.
No worries. I appreciate your time.
Yeah. When I asked you for the first time to share your story, you said, I love sharing my stories, in turn helping those candidates who are struggling with their goals and with business ventures. So how this sharing story can help others people?
Well, because when you start as an entrepreneur, you're by yourself. You pretty much have generally speaking, you're by yourself. You have an idea. You think it's going to work, or you have a really good indication that it's going to work, but ultimately, you and you alone, or you and your small team, are going to have to figure it out.
Yeah.
Take into consideration like Steve Jobs back in the 80s, when he actually started his business in the computers. That was a foreign. You want what? You want computers that are smaller than a room? Wait a minute, that doesn't make any sense. Or you get Facebook and Zuckerberg. That didn't happen. What they were trying to do didn't happen. So you have to have that vision. And so when you have those Steve Jobs or those Zuckerbergs, you have to share them, because if you don't share them, then the person down, that's in now starting that process doesn't have any real success, or doesn't really see how success can be had. And
Yeah.
so sharing your story and sharing my story, I don't know if it's going to help anybody at this point, but years down the road, you might I don't know, have a Steve Jobs.
No, sir. Actually, I believe from every person's story we can learn something new.
Mm-hmm.
Every person is different, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and like in my story, I'm an underdog. I've always been an underdog. Growing up, I was always told no, and so when I was 12, I was told that I was too small, too short, to do a 50-mile hike. When I graduated high school, I told everybody I was going to be in the Army. They said, nope, you're too small, you're too fat, you're too this, you're too that. And so every single time I'm like, no, I'm going to do it. And so I turned that opportunity of just joining in the Army, for example, into a 12-year career, and left only because I got injured. So, one point for the underdog, and and so that's kind of how I base my company, because everybody understands that there's Steve Jobs. Everybody understands that there's Elon Musk's around there and all that, but nobody really hears about the people in between.
Yes.
So you hear about the people that are really, really bad at it and just are in the news because they did something, illegal or immoral, unethical, or you hear the Elon Musks success stories, but nothing in between. And so that's kind of where I want to stay in my stories, in my everything else. Matter of fact, my website says that we are the underdogs,
Yeah.
and we kind of root for the underdog.
You're engaged with different activities like you're investor in Weeden Enterprises and the board of directors in Big Brothers and
Mm-hmm.
Big Sisters. What about them? What can you brief about them?
So Weeden Enterprise, excuse me, Weeden Enterprise was actually not my first business. My first business was and is a company called FLSB Investments, which is a real estate investment firm. Um, this is where I learned all the mistakes. In the United States um, and around the world, you would think going to a bank to get money or to get a loan, it's pretty much where you're going to go, right?
Yeah.
And so I have a degree in finance and accounting from a United States university. I'm like, okay, I'm educated. I have my paperwork and everything. I should be pretty good.
Yeah.
So I went to Wells Fargo. I walked into Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo is one of the biggest in the world.
Wow.
And to get the money, and they came to me and they were like, Mr. Weeden, hello, how are you? Come in. I'm so glad you're here. And so in my mind, I'm like, yes, we're gonna be successful. This is gonna work. And then I go, by the way, I'm looking for about $100,000 line of credit. And they're like, ooh. And so it like stopped everything, because I was like, wait, no, this is how that works. You go to the bank, you get the loan, you get this. No, we're not going to be able to do that for you. Well, why not? We just don't. I'm like, okay, this is going to be interesting, because it threw, it threw my plan completely off. And so at the end of the day, I was able to do about 12. I was able to buy and sell about 12 properties, or have 12 transactions within my first 2 years. And I'll tell you, this was back in 2017 when I found out that Wells Fargo doesn't really help, or the big banks really don't help the underdogs. It's 2020 and I still haven't gone to a bank and gotten the funds.
Okay.
So what I ended up having to do was, okay, I have a problem. And now I'm like, okay, I need to fix it, because without money, my businesses can't work. So I created a company called Zen Lending and Consulting. Zen in the traditional sense of peace, tranquility, all that stuff, and lending being complete opposite. It's a real pain. It's a real it really is work to get the loan. And so I kind of put them together. Zen Lending now supports small businesses and medium-sized businesses. But now I have another problem. If I go to you and I say, hey, I'm Brian Weeden from Zen Lending and Consulting, and you say, yeah, I want to sell a property, I'm like, oh, yeah, I could do that too. And then I could do that too. And eventually those people are going to be like, no, like you have to have a focus. You have to really, if you're too broad or you're too general, you're going to get, your credibility is not going to be as good. Okay. So I created Weeden Enterprise so that I can say I'm president of Weeden Enterprise, okay, in which we do lending, we do small business strategies, we do the real estate. Oh, that's okay. That makes sense now. It's so you have experts in that field. Yes.
So you're already into many different business ventures.
Mm-hmm.
So you
Matter
have
of fact,
You had much experience in business related terms, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, a matter of fact, this morning I was reviewing a purchase agreement for an insurance agency here in Texas.
Oh, great.
So, have my hands in all sorts of different things, and I think that's a benefit to all my other clients that I'm kind of helping along the way,
Yeah.
because I've what I've experienced will help my clients because they don't have to go through that experience. That's the and that's the whole point of telling your story. That's the whole point of, hey, this is what I'm doing. This is how I'm making it work. And if you want to have a chat, let's connect. If you have questions,
Okay.
let's connect so that we can get you taken care of and pointed in the right direction.
Yeah, good work, sir.
Yeah.
So I have got some questions to ask you, sir. So
Mm-hmm.
the first one is how the impact of this COVID-19 will be on with the different businesses.
This could be a challenge for most people around the world.
Yeah.
So this is the crazy part. It's nobody can like have told us 2 months ago or sorry, like 6 months ago that this was going to happen. Even if somebody was going to tell us, hey, there's going to be a virus that's going to send the world into a tailspin of business, would you have believed it? I probably wouldn't have believed it. And so it's going to affect the people who are unprepared. There's a lot of businesses here in the United States and probably around the world that have it maybe a savings of a certain amount of money. Well, in this situation, that could have been eaten up very quickly. And so in the United States, what I'm trying to tell people and what I'm trying to teach them is when business credit is used, it allows so much peace within the business. For example, if I'm literally doing living paycheck to paycheck for a business, that's very difficult because it's going to come across as, hello customer, I need your money to survive, to get to that next week or that next 2 weeks or whatever, versus somebody who has business credit, who would love your service, your business would love it, but it's not extremely connected to an output next week or even next month. And so I don't know much about how the world does it, but the United States is very interesting. We have in the system, we have personal credit, where me as an individual can am I lending worthiness, right?
Okay.
If I go to the bank and I go, hey, can I borrow $100? And they go, well, he paid us back early last time. Obviously the worthiness is going to be more, and so they assign us a number, right? And so it's 300 to 850 normally. And the higher the number, the more credit worthy you are. The challenge with businesses that we have is that's for you as an individual. That's not for families. That's not for a group of people. That's not for a business. That's not for anything other than you as an individual. On the flip side, if you're a business owner, then how do you get that money that you need so that you could be a successful business owner?
Yeah.
Well, they have business credit, but business credit is like the myth of all myths. We know it exists. We just think we have to be really, really big
Yes, sir.
to get it.
Yeah.
But it kind of is in reverse. We can't be really big and then get it. Why? Because you're not going to be able to get that. You're not going to be able to reach that goal without your foundation. You know, a lot of people use building a house.
Mm.
If you build a house on a beach without the proper foundation, it's going to work, but not for very long.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes, sir.
A wind, for example, COVID-19 just goes and it's over.
Yeah.
Like you can't collect anything. It's just gone.
Yeah.
But if you have a good foundation and build your business properly, which is what I've learned in the past with my other business, it makes it so much easier. Many people know about Walmart.
So you tells that foundation is very much important in business with business.
Yes.
Yeah. So if that foundation is better in past this COVID-19, they may pass this COVID-19 also.
Easily.
Yeah.
Easily. Look at Walmart. Walmart has the same, if not bigger, issue with COVID-19, but because they currently have 513 lines of credit that they can reach into, or 513 credit cards to put it in kind of some perspective, they have opportunity that they can stay afloat. Well, why can't we as individual business owners, small business owners, why can't we have that? Well, you can. By the time somebody asks for money, they're like, they tried to skip ahead without having everything in order, so that they can take advantage of that opportunity. And that's where a lot of small businesses fail, but not because they know about it and just don't do it. They just don't know about it, and they don't know what that means, and what that means to them later on when you do that, that asking for money and that loan or business credit, whatever it's going to be. What you did at the very beginning now is extremely important.
So the businesses who laid their foundation very strong in the past will face this crisis very best in a best manner. Yeah, I got you.
Yes, all the other ones are scraping by, just trying to make it work. You know, praying to everybody that like I don't know. Let me try this. Let me try that.
They have to face with different strategies.
Yeah. And you could tell the difference. You could tell the difference. We have a client that has $1 million in credit cards based on his business. Well, if that's the case, do you think he's financially strapped? Do you think he's financially worried? Not as much as the other person that it doesn't have that and is just worrying about how am I going to get food on the table? How am I going to get more clients? This is going to pass. Now, how do I start? How do I continue past it? It's a completely different ballgame, completely different set of rules. It's a completely different mindset. So those are the people that are going to be okay. The other ones, it's going to hurt.
Yeah. So do you think, is it a good time to start any business?
Yes. And here's why.
Yeah.
when we had the Great Depression,
Mhm.
everything was cheap. Why? Because the market was down,
Yes, yes, really.
right? And it probably was. You could definitely start something. The market's down, and also there's new problems. Again, we go back to nobody would have. I didn't know what COVID-19 was. I knew that. I mean, who would have known?
Mhm.
But now there's different problems, um, and there's different opportunities. So let's go back to the struggling business owner. You can actually purchase a business already up and running
Mhm.
for cheaper now than before, because they're just wanting to get out. Like, I've tried my luck, I'm done, I don't want this anymore.
Mhm.
They're now more excited about leaving. They're now more motivated to get out than before. So when you buy a business, you already have clientele, you already have the product, you already have the processes, and all you want to do is just now become the owner. So there's going to be a lot of different opportunities for entrepreneurs to build, to get small businesses, and also to build off of that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So if I ask you for the suggestions, what would you give the best suggestions for the aspiring entrepreneurs?
Do it. There's a book by a DJ. His name's Bobby Bones,
Bobby
and he's
Bonds.
nationally syndicated.
Mm.
Um, he wrote a book called "Fail Until You Don't," which is it's priceless. This guy, Bobby Bones, this guy, he literally was broke. There were times in his life that if that organization did not give him, for example, Christmas gifts or do this thing for his family, it just wasn't going to happen. And now he's known nationwide. He's been on Dancing with the Stars. Um uh, he works with The Voice, and he's huge. So he went from nothing to being well known and famous and all that. And he wrote the book "Fail Until You Don't," because that's basically what he did.
Okay.
And don't be afraid to fail. As an entrepreneur, you're going to fail because you're not an employee, so you don't have a set of, you don't have a book of rules, or you don't have a book of how to do this and this. You have to make them up. You have to do it. And so that's kind of what you're gonna have to do. Advice, though: get a team around you that has done it before. Get a team around you that has the experience, or their expertise is in financing or something like that. That'll give you a little bit more of a boost of success.
Yeah, great suggestions, sir. In personal, I will to follow this.
Yes.
So,
Yes. Just fail until you don't. By the way,
yeah.
I've wanted to do a podcast, but I've been afraid. So
Yeah.
I'm right there with you.
Okay.
But also, just to give you some sort of statistics,
Okay.
at least in the American business realm, like, know what you're getting into. 97% of all business loans do not come from banks in the United States. So if you know that going in, then you can already be open to other ideas. It works. You just have to learn how to do it. It's a huge, like, 70% of all businesses fail within the first 2 years. And I'm sorry, there's like 40% chance that they do within the first 2 years. There's like an 80% chance that they don't make it to the past 10 years or their 10th anniversary. And the second reason why is because they don't have any funding. So when somebody gets the idea, great, now get the funding. You don't need it now, but get it right now, because let's say you have good personal credit. Let's say you can bring people onto the team in the beginning that are more likely to help you than if you've been in business and now you're stuck. Like you have a weird situation and now you're like, hey, friend, come and help me. They're like, yeah, it's a sinking ship. So you want to make sure that all that's taken care of at the very beginning. That's a good piece of advice for any entrepreneur.
Yeah, great advice. I will take into account that.
Yes.
So in this crisis, many small business owners are being worried so much. So how do you give courage to them?
What's my advice for those that are currently worried about the COVID-19?
Yeah.
Okay. I would focus, like for me, I took this time to revamp, to really look at what I was doing.
Yes.
And say, okay, we've basically paused all of the economy. Now what can I do right now to adjust? Because I'm not worried about right now. I'm worried about when we get out. If you're worrying about right now, you definitely have failed to plan prior to, right? And so if you're worried about this current right now, this day, this week, recognize it as a failure to plan. But that doesn't mean that you can't plan for, okay, I messed up now. Now I can't fix today, but what can I do in the future to better the situation? I revamped my website. I actually created the Weeden Enterprise brand. I decided to partner with a lot more people just because I wanted to spread the wealth. If I'm looking for 5 or 6 or 10 companies that I want to acquire, then I'm a CEO of all 10 of them. Talk about stress. I'm not doing it. But if I'm able to partner with people to say, hey, look, you want to be a team, now we can spread the wealth and be able to be successful in all sorts of different avenues versus just that one. My business, I'm kind of pivoting to my consulting business more than well, if you need to get money, you don't have the $4,000 or $5,000 that I'm requiring of you to get money. So my sales pitch has definitely changed, but also in this time, because I have the opportunity and I have the means to do it, I went back to school. I'm getting my master's in business administration because the military pays for it. Okay.
So you say that without any worries, just reinvent your business.
Yeah, really look at your business, what you're doing now, and look at what you could do in the future to acquire more people. Do not quit marketing.
Okay.
You cannot quit marketing, because once you quit marketing, you're dead. You're dead, because nobody knows that you're still around. because a lot of people are
Okay.
having issues.
So the next question for you is, all people will be having some dreams, their own dreams,
Mm-hmm.
but only some people are able to achieve their dreams. What's the difference? What's the gap between those successful and unsuccessful people?
My wife and I were having this conversation. She goes, they just don't dream anymore. My wife is she's from the Philippines. She's very matter of fact.
Okay.
Like you either have dreams or you don't. You either have, but I'm a little bit different. We got to remember when we were kids, we wanted to be firemen. We wanted to be astronauts. We're going to make up stuff that didn't even exist at that point. What was the difference between the us as a kids and us now? And the big difference is life happened and reality kind of hit. Great entrepreneurs are able to dream beyond that. And it's not just an entrepreneur is not just like, it'd be really cool to have $100,000 in my bank account. That's a dreamer.
Yeah.
Right? Then and there's them, and then the dream, but nothing else. In the United States, we call those entrepreneurs. Okay. The small business owner is able to take that same dream, that same, I want $100,000, and now they're planning and making it happen, and then failing, and then doing it again. So entrepreneurs are the dreamers. Small business owners are the doers.
Okay.
And what we have to do is we have to have a little bit of both in us, or you have a team of the entrepreneur that has the vision, and then you have somebody who's the doer that can actually put the pieces together and say, hey, this actually might work.
Exactly.
And so that's the big thing, and we have to put those two together.
So what are some successful habits that entrepreneur should develop to achieve his target? How he can convert his idea into business?
Good habits that a successful entrepreneur has? Is that the question?
Yes, exactly.
Okay. So you have to be able to take the big picture and then break it up into manageable pieces, right? Can you imagine, just imagine for a second, somebody goes, hey, you have Walmart. Walmart's huge. The idea is massive, but it didn't start out that way. The Walton family had a small business, and the small store is still alive and well today. So they took the idea and they blew it up. So a good habit that a entrepreneur has is somebody who can schedule their time and their in such a way and be super focused, like super focused on that one thing. And but then you have to have the tenacity. You have to have the what we call grit, because your plan is not going to work all the time. So a successful entrepreneur says, okay, that was horrible. Let's go back to the drawing board. Instead of, that's horrible, I'm done. Because the idea of being your own boss sounds fantastic. Except for, now you have to be your boss. And you have to have that stringent, we're going to get this done. I have a deadline, which is very strange because you put yourself on that deadline. you give yourself that deadline, and now what? Now you have to follow it. So at the end of the day, you always have a boss. It's just, are you the boss, or do you have a boss? That's the big difference of the entrepreneur. So, and being able to plan that, to have the grit, to have all that tenacity, and to have the continuous fortitude to just success. You're going to push this, elephant down the racetrack. You don't know how you're going to do it, but it's going to happen. And then make it happen. But there's to have like, hey, if you do 1, 2, 3, and 4, you're going to be successful. Unfortunately, that doesn't happen. That we don't have that yet.
So one final question for you is that you are trying to acquire MBA degree now. So at this, what's your age and why do you want to do MBA now at this age?
I think somebody asked me about that a while ago. Why now? I took my undergrad while I was in the Army because the way that it's structured is the Army pays for it, so that's great. That's $60,000 I don't have to come up with. That's awesome. But also, it allows me to grow as a human being. If you just stop growing, stop learning, and that doesn't always mean you have to be in college or university, but just stop learning altogether. That's very, very difficult because you're not going to be able to adjust your business or life. If you have a regular job, you're not going to be able to adjust well. So my MBA is going to be on business in general. So a little bit of marketing, a little bit of human resources, a little bit of everything that it takes, the finances, so I can learn it, and then I can in turn give help my clients in that weird crazy situation. And now's a good time to do it. Why? Because I also am part of the way it's structured is the Army or the program that I'm in pays me for like my house, my food. So if I'm short in funds, because I went back to school, they pay me. If it wasn't structured like that, would I still be going to get my MBA? I would hope so. But that means that I'd have to come out with money, and I'm like, that'd be kind of a really weird situation for me and my family. But I would hope that I would.
Yeah, I hope that I would. You will, sir.
So, but it also shows that as entrepreneurs, we have to be ready to take advantage of opportunity. If I'm not always seeking opportunity will not come to me. You're not going to walk down the street and they're going to be like, "Sir, would you like to buy a building?" You're like, that doesn't happen. You first have to tell your neighborhood. You first have to tell your friends, "Hey, I really would like, if you know anybody who wants to buy or sell a building, let me know. I'll be able to, I'm interested." So that shows them the opportunity. And in turn, that's how I'm able to get the business that I'm buying right now. I told somebody, I said, I'm interested in buying businesses. I have one that I was looking over the contract for this morning. I have one in the very beginning of the stage where I might be interested in selling. But you have to announce your intentions. You have to announce that you're searching for those, because nobody's going to think that you're automatically going to want to buy a business or automatically want these types of clients, or whatever you're looking for. So Facebook, LinkedIn is great opportunities to just say, hey, I'm an investor, or hey, I'm looking for these type of clients. I'm ready to help when you need it. So that's a big trick. And the whole owning a business is just announcing to the world that you're in business.
Yeah, that's all. So to learn, age should not be any restriction.
Yes.
We have to learn continuously.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And because everything changes.
Yes, yes.
Laws in your home country are changing. Laws in my home country are changing.
We have to update ourselves.
Huh?
We have to update ourselves.
Yes.
To the current
and they're
situations.
Not going to knock on your door and say, hey, just give you an update. This is what changes. You have to seek out the changes, because
yeah.
That's how the world is.
Yes, yes, yes.
And even doing that, you're continuously learning. You're honing your skill.
So, would you like to add any other points to the viewers of this Diarysouls channel?
Good luck to everybody. If there's anything I could do, you can always reach me at weedenenterprise.com or yourzenlender.com. It's very simple. I like to just sit here and just have a conversation, see if what you're going through. If there's anything I can kind of give you pointers to. Everything that I do for the first hour is free. So pick my brain or whatever, and we'll be able to work. But come and visit my page, Weeden, WEEDEN enterprise.com.
Okay.
And see if we can help. There's a link in there that you can schedule a time. There's my phone number. If you're in the great state of Texas, there's my address that you can go to my office and we can meet there. I've gotten very, very much acquainted with Zoom now in this pandemic. So we could do that too. So I'm here to help in any way that I can. My story is mine, and I'd like to help you get your story and help you with your success. Thanks for your time.
Thank you so much. I had a great talk with you, and I learned so many new things having talked with you. And I will
I'm glad.
implement those in my life. And thank you so much for giving your valuable time in your busy schedule.
No worries. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
And you said that you are going to start one new podcast. So Diarysouls wish good luck for that.
I appreciate it. I've done my initial interview. Now I can take some tips and go, hey, I can actually do that. Yeah. Because in our brain, it takes a lot of, we spin a lot of different things in our head that say, no, you can't do that. No. Let's just do it.
You can do it.
Sounds good. I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
You, I, and all, we can do it, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Makes it work.
Have a great day, sir. Thank you so much.